Hello and welcome to 9 Design 3D. Today we will make this abandoned amusement park scene in our video. Let's go to the tutorial. First we will make our Ferris wheel. For this, add a circle to your scene and have to fill in tab to edit mode. Press I to inset and I to inset again. Now turn back to the object node with tab and add wireframe modifier. As you see, it will look like that. Now you can set your thickness, offset and boundary for this. With the boundary, it will give smooth shapes. And you can right click shade smooth for this. But don't forget to check your auto smooth under the normals. Or if you want, you can ignore it. Rotate and scale. Place it. After that, shift it to duplicate in y-axis and copy it. You can Ctrl J to join them together if you want. Let's make middle joint part of it. For this we will add a circle in here and after that scale it. In tab to edit mode you can choose back face and G to move in y-axis. Choose these two faces, go to individual origin and after that I to inset. Now E to extrude, right click and Alt S to scale. As you see, you can give a shape and scale like that and E to extrude, right click and S to scale. You can E to extrude it again, shade smooth and auto smooth. Add two loop cuts middle of it and choose your medium point. S in y-axis this loop cut with the Ctrl B to bevel, E to extrude, right click and Alt S to scale. And for the other faces, you can Ctrl B to bevel for giving smoothness. Now let's add a circle for our scene because we will make some cabinets for our Ferris wheel. G to move side vertices and press F to fill. Again I to inset, choose outside faces with Alt and E to extrude in Z axis. And scale in X axis again. You can shade smooth and auto smooth for this. Now we will shift it to duplicate it and rotate Y and 90 degree. Now you can choose top edge line and F to fill. You can Ctrl B to bevel too. And now let's make some entrance part of this cabinet. You can choose these faces and X delete these faces. Make same thing for the bottom part. And after that, we will add some support rails for this. You can add a cylinder, press Shift Z when you scale it and it will lock the axis. And after that you can scale in Z axis and G to move, Shift it to duplicate for sides and back rails. For all of this you can choose all of them and Ctrl J to join them together. If you want to add some sitting parts, you can add a plane as a simple. Choose the side edges and E to extrude down. Select all with A and E to extrude, right click and Alt S to scale. You can shift it to duplicate it for the opposite side. You can add extra rails for the entrance. Shift it to duplicate this rail as a cylinder, scale and place it. For the top joint part, we will join it to our Ferris wheel circle. You can add a cylinder for this and set your vertices 16. Scale and place it top of your cabinet. Choose outside faces and press I to inset and press X, delete these faces. Now you can choose your edge lines and right click loop tool bridge. If it's not open in your Blender, you can go edit preferences, add-ons and type loop tool. It will be activated with the right click in edit mode. Now you can shade smooth it, Ctrl J to join them together all. Let's add some joint parts for our Ferris wheel circles. You can add cylinder in here too and scale and place it. As the same method, we will make same thing with adding our cylinders. Now, you can selection the keep offset for your cabinets and place them. After all of that, with the numpad one, you can look at your Ferris wheel from the front view and you can shift it to duplicate it where you want to put your Ferris wheel circle. Let's make some support other wood parts. You can add a cube for this and scale it. And Z to wireframe. In Tab to Edit mode, you can choose your bottom vertices for your cube and G to move in down. In Object mode, again press Tab. We will add some mirror modifier to this. As a mirror modifier, choose your Ferris circle and press mirror axis Y. It will be copied for the back and you can apply it. Our Ferris wheel will look like that. You can make a platform for this with adding a cube. It's really simple. How you want, you can place it and make it. For the top face of it, you can I to inset and E to extrude down. For adding rail for platform, you can add cylinder again, scale and place it where you want. If you want, you can add some mirror modifier to this too. In Object mode, choose your platform and continue to shift it to duplicate your cylinders. For the vertical and horizontal cylinders, you can add extra things if you want. I am adding other cylinders, rails too. Now let's add some stairs. For this, I am adding simple plane, E to extrude front edge. For the back edge line, I will E to extrude up, E to extrude again in y-axis, E to extrude up and E to extrude again in y-axis. You can E to extrude down again. Choose these two edge lines and have to fill. For the sides, you can choose your edge lines with Shift and Alt and have to fill again. Our Ferris wheel will look like that. You can add them in a collection with M. For the swing right, I will use same circular part from our Ferris wheel, but we will make a bit little change. For the outside face line, E to extrude, right click and Alt has to scale. With the select and checker deselect, you can E to extrude these parts, right click and Alt has to scale. As an individual origin, you can scale them and our shape will be different from our Ferris wheel. Let's add some support rail to this too. Add a circle, E to extrude in Z-axis, E to extrude, right click and S to scale. Again, you can E to extrude and give which type shape you want. With the Alt S, choosing your faces, you can change your scale with this method. For the top again, E to extrude and Ctrl B to bevel. Now, let's add our swing sitting parts. You can add a plane for this. Choose 3 of edge line and E to extrude up. Choose all of it with A, E to extrude, right click and Alt has to scale. You can add extra loop cut with the Ctrl R for the middle. In Z to wireframe, you can delete half of it, and in Object mode, you can add a mirror modifier to this, and don't forget to check your clipping. Now, you can give a shape how you want for this. As a bevel modifier, you can give it. I will move my bevel modifier top of the mirror as you see. You can add extra loop cuts and give shape how you want. Let's add some curve path. With the swing chain parts for this, I will use a curve. Under the curve settings with the depth, you can give a depth a bit for this. In edit mode, you can move your vertices and give a shape for this. Add a mirror modifier. Let's make top joint part, you can add a plane for this again and E to extrude in Z-axis. For the joint part, you can add a circle for this, delete half of it. E to extrude in Y-axis, select all with A, E to extrude, right-click and Alt to scale as the same method. We will make joint part for this too. You can dissolve some edges and you can Ctrl B to bevel for your sitting part. With the middle mouse button, you can set it. I will Shift E to duplicate it and place it around my swing right. With the numpad 7, you can look at from the top. You can Shift E to duplicate and copy it. Our swing right is ready. You can add a collection with M. Let's make some bumper car. For this, we will add a UV sphere and we will set our segment 16. Shade Smooth, rotate in X-axis in 19. In Z to wireframe, you can delete back and bottom part of it. In Solid View, we will use this. Choose these edge lines and E to extrude in Y-axis. You can add extra loop cuts in here and Z to wireframe again. Choose your vertices. You can give some shape for your vertices how you want. Choose half of it and delete your vertices and again add mirror modifier to this as the other same method. For the back edge lines, you can E to extrude in X-axis and add extra loop cuts for giving smoothness. F to fill for bottom. It will look like a bit of shoe. You can select all again with A, E to extrude, right click and Alt to scale. And you can add some bevel modifier to this. Move top of the mirror. E to extrude this bottom face line, right click and Alt to scale. You can give a bump part. For the sitting parts, we will add a cube now. You can choose some faces and delete them. Select all with A, E to extrude, right click and Alt to scale. For giving smoothness, we will add a subdivision surface modifier to this. Now you can shade smooth and in edit mode you can add extra loop cuts for making tidy up your sitting parts. For the main wheel, you can add a circle for this and give a shape how you want. E to extrude in Y-axis. Select all with A, E to extrude, right click and Alt to scale. You can choose some faces, inner parts and delete them. After that, choose your edge lines and right click loop tool bridge. I gave a shape for my bumper car like that. From my camera angle, I am setting up my amusement park toys. I'm rotating my Ferris Wheel and setting my camera angle. After all of that, we will add a ground for this. Add a plane and scale. You can move it with your camera angle again. We will add an array modifier to this. You can give -1 for the X and increase your count. Apply your modifier. As you see, as the edge lines, you can move them in X-axis for the opposite direction. Select all with A and E to extrude in Z-axis. You can add extra loop cuts because we will use some vertices from here because we will give some damaged look for this. You can move your vertices how you want. And I will add again array modifier and set 0 in X and Y 1. You can increase your count and place your ground. After applying your modifier, you can add extra loop cuts for a not repeated pattern. You can add extra loop cuts with Ctrl R and move your vertices. Let's make some ticket box for our amusement park. I'm adding a cube again. As the same method, you can see from the screencast keys from the left bottom menu. I'm using the same method. with I to inset some parts. Adding extra loop cuts with Ctrl R for the window. You can press E to extrude for the back, I to inset again. Choose these faces, press I twice for making insets separately. Now we will add some rails around our amusement park. You can set your segment 16, scale and place it where you want. If you want, you can give some round shape type rails around it. With the array modifier, you can set your Y value for far away between these rails. With the array modifier, increasing count and shifted to duplicate, I made this type of rails around my amusement park place. Let's add some materials. Before this, we will add a sky texture because we want to see our materials in the cycles engine. Add a sky texture. From here, you can set your sun elevation and sun rotation. For the Ferris Wheel, I downloaded this metal material from the ambiencg.com as a 2K. And I downloaded this steel material for my ticket box. For the ground, I downloaded this concrete material. And as the painted metal substance, you can choose which you want and you can use them. For the Ferris Wheel rusty parts, I will add a rusty material in here. Press your Principal BSDF. Before this, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons and type Node Wrangler because we will use something in here. Press Ctrl-Shift-T and choose your textures map. You can choose all of it, and as you see, it came in here. Press Tab to edit mode, U and Smart UV project. We will use this Smart UV project method in here. As the same method, we will add all our materials with pressing Ctrl-Shift-T, choosing our maps, and after that, U Smart UV project. Which color you want, you can give this. If you want to change your color, you can use your color RAM. Maybe between base color and Principal BSDF if you want. I am adding my material. If you want, you can slow down the video for seeing this process, but I'm not making any extra thing. I am adding my other materials as the same method. For the ground, as you see, I added all my materials in here. From the Quixel bridge I showed before how to use it, you can go from the top right card. I will download some grass materials from here and I will use it in Blender as a particle system. After download and export your grasses, it will become to your scene as Open Blender project. You can separate some grasses from here or you can delete others. I added them in a collection because we will use collection. Go to particle system. Here, advanced, as you see, it will came in here like that. Choose rotation and after that, under the render settings, render as set your collection and instance collection grass. Under the render part scale, you can scale your grasses and scale randomness. You can give random height for your grasses. As you see, it came in here. Under the number and seed parts, you can change your grasses numbers. With the scale part, you can scale it. And I will download this type of different grass from here as the same method. I will use it. I'm exporting it for my Open Blender project. I will add them in a second collection as a grass 2. I will choose my ground and with the plus icon I will add second particle system as an here advanced. Set your rotation and choose your second grass 2 material collection. And you can scale them from here and set your number how you want. As you see, it will look like that. From the Quixel bridge, I downloaded this type of rubbles and I downloaded some bushes and ivies for adding. From the Sketchfab add-on, I wanted to add some roller coaster rail background of my scene. I downloaded this roller coaster rail and I will use this without animation. Thanks for the Mert. For this model, I will use this. You can import it and place it for the back. If you want, you can change its color. From the Blender kit, I will download some low poly forest from here. You can drag and drop it. You can check their website. It's easy to work with it. Under the particle settings, you can set your tree's number and see it. Now let's add some fog. For this, I am adding a cube to my scene and I am adding a material as a fog. Go to Shading tab. You can delete this and add principal volume. Connect volume to volume. After that, you can set your density, add color ramp node, and connected emission strength, and you can add noise texture for this. With the color ramp's black node, you can set it. In the cycles render engine, it will look like that. I added some galaxy HDRI from the Sketchfab. I really liked it and I will use this. You can type as a galaxy. I downloaded this HDRI for the back part. Thanks for the Alexander. As an amusement park, as you see as a circle stand inner of my scene, I downloaded this circle stand. Thanks for the Pericles. I use this. And as a street lamp, if you want, you can model it, but I will use this model. Thanks for the Beiro. I downloaded them and I added extra area lights for my scene. After that, when you get some cycles render engine with the render, it will look like that. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later in new tutorials.